Hey everybody, Ashton here from Anatomy of Living. We're in my kitchen. Today we are going to talk about how you can make your own fermented drinks starter. It's called the Ginger Bug. Hope you'll stick around and watch it. Hey everybody, Ashton here from Anatomy of Living. Today I'm going to teach you how to make your own ginger bug. What's a ginger bug? What's it going to do? Well, it's going to be your starter culture to make fermented drinks. And next week I'm going to teach you how to make your very own ginger beer or ginger ale. Fermented foods and drinks have been an important part of human history for thousands of years. They've been a part of most cultures for thousands of years. In our modern American culture, we don't tend to have as much of this fermented food and drink. Yogurt does exist, kombucha is picking up more steam and popularity these days, and technically beer is a fermented drink. But what we're looking for is all these amazing microorganisms that are in fermented foods. They're really, really helpful for your gut and your digestive system, and that's really going to impact your overall health. So, we're going to go over today how to make the ginger bug. It's going to take about a week to get started. So next week, we'll have the video on how to make your own ginger ale. It's delicious, it's fun, and it's good for your health. Okay, you don't really need a whole lot to get started. What you do need is ginger, sugar, filtered water. Try not to use it from the tap. Some of the elements of the tap can affect that fermentation process. In a jar, a mason jar works best. I like to use the bigger mason jars because I make bigger batches of things, but you can use the smaller ones. What's nice about these ball ones is that they actually have measurements on the side. A lot of the mason jars don't, so this is pretty nice that it does because it helps you get a sense of how much liquid is in there. Now, pretty simple. We're going to cut up our ginger. There's a few different ways to do it. You can cut it up with a knife, right, and just cut it up. The more that you cut it up, the more you break it up, the higher surface area, the more that things will start to kick into action. But I've seen people use quite big chunks before and still get results. It just tends to be a little slower. You can also use a cheese grater and just go along here. It's going to break it up really fine, but some people don't like the mess that creates. And it's pretty simple. You're going to cut up a tablespoon of ginger. You're going to get a tablespoon of sugar. And you're going to put in a cup of water. And that's going to be a ratio that you're going to keep. Tablespoon of ginger, tablespoon of sugar, cup of water. You add 3 cups of water, you need 3 tablespoons of ginger, 3 tablespoons of sugar. Once you've completed that, once you've chopped everything up and got it all going, you've put it in your mason jar. For the next 3 to 5 days at least, until you've really established the culture, you're going to not add water, but you are going to continue to add 1 tablespoon of ginger, 1 tablespoon of sugar to help really activate the culture inside your ginger bug. I do recommend as well labeling your ginger bugs. So I put a little piece of painter's tape on here. I just write when I started it. The bug, I have a list, a little book that talks about which one of these they are. The reason being is that you don't have to use just ginger. You can actually use turmeric as well. You'll see here in this bug actually has quite a bit of turmeric in it as well, and I use it for a lot of my drinks. Turmeric has all kinds of amazing anti-inflammatory benefits, similar to ginger. They're both great herbs. Can make fermented beverages from other starters, from whey, things like that, but I do love the effects of the ginger and the taste as well, and a lot of the drinks that I make have ginger in them, so I love them. So I've got some various ginger here. We're not going to need a whole lot of it to start, but if you go to the store and you get just a couple inches of organic ginger, that should be good. Got a measuring cup. some organic sugar, and a mason jar. Now this is a larger mason jar. You might not need such a big one, but I like to eventually add much more to mine, so I've got more to work with later for bigger batches of things. So I'm gonna start by cutting up some ginger, and you can leave the skins of the ginger on. I've seen plenty of people out there leave quite big chunks of their ginger into their brews. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but I like to cut it up smaller so you increase the surface area. You tend to get things going a lot quicker that way. As you can see, cutting here, still not as efficient per se, or as it won't cut it or get it as fine and chopped up as using cheese grater. So you can see how that really gets everything quite mashed up and fine. Now, as you can see for the demonstration, I'm going to start with roughly 2 tablespoons of ginger. It's because I'm going to be using 2 cups of water. I'm going to put the ginger in my mason jar, put the 2 cups of water in my mason jar, and I will also take 2 cups of the organic sugar and place it in the mason jar. Pretty simple. Close it up. A few things that you got to do once you've done this. Every day for the next few days, you're going to follow that same idea, but you're going to do 1-to-1. So you're going to take 1 tablespoon of ginger, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and feed your ginger bug. All right, so there are just a few final things to consider once you started your ginger bug. You put in your water, your sugar, your ginger, you're feeding it every day, just like a baby. If you don't burp it after you fed it, it's likely going to throw up. And what that's going to mean for your ginger bug is the thing could explode. So you'll notice, let's see if I can get up close enough here, there's a whole lot of fizziness happening in there, even though this has been in my fridge for a while. But oh, there's not that nice little juicy sound because I already did it a few times while I was making the video. But you've got to release the top a few times to let out some of the gas. Otherwise, you're going to notice that these little cans, the little tops on these mason jars, really start to expand, and it can be even hard to open these, and they could even explode on you. So be sure that a few times a day, you just twist it, pop out the gas, and you hear a nice little sound, releasing some of the gas. You'll see more bubbles build up. You'll know that you've burped it. After a while, after you've established your culture, you can actually put it in your fridge. It's going to calm down the carbonation process quite a bit. It's going to essentially put a lot of these microorganisms to sleep, and that's okay. It can stay in your fridge for quite some time. It could actually stay in there for a number of months. You're not going to have to keep burping it all the time. There are products out there that are like little rubber things on the top that are essentially self-burpers. I haven't tried them myself yet, but I have heard good things about them. If you don't have to all the time. In warmer climates, you're gonna have to even do it a few times a day. So that is something to be very careful of. You don't want to just start your ginger bug, leave it on the counter somewhere and forget about it. It could explode. So warning, don't do that. You burp your baby or get one of those things, I don't even know what they're called, but it's the age of the internet. I'm sure you could Google it and find it out. And then eventually, like I said, once it's started, you can go ahead and put it in the fridge. It can stay more dormant there for when you're ready to make your other brews like ginger ale or fermented lemonade, anything like that. So if you got any questions, email me at ashton@anatomyofliving.com. I'm happy to answer them as best that I can. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you go to the grocery store. If you don't already have some ginger and sugar, try making this, because next week we're gonna make our own ginger beer, and holy moly, it tastes so good. And there's something really, really great about drinking your own fermented drink that you've made yourself especially if you live in a place where you can grow your own ingredients, which is even more awesome. We're currently growing a whole ton of ginger in our backyard, so once that finally is ready for harvest, we can start using our very own organic ginger, which is exciting. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've learned something. See you next time.